Due to the jaywalkers' overall censorship and the various draconian punishments for those who dare to think differently, I had to choose different names and words for everything, in spite of the fact I don't even have any problems with the jaywalkers. On the contrary, the jaywalkers have weaponized the borders between free speech and censorship, for humanity not knowing anymore where free speech ends and censorship begins, due to the weaponization of normal human rights. Without, for the jaywalkers and their RF even knowing who in fact are the real responsibles for World War II's atrocities, using weaponized laws to randomly hit around in the dark, hoping to at least hit someone in this Nazi-like practice, needing a random scapegoat. I'll read it for you. Scapegoat. A good scapegoat is nearly as welcome as a solution to the problem. Look, I'm making videos against these ones here with their flags and all, you know. What happened? It got deleted because of all these laws, you know, this weaponized censorship, free speech laws. All these videos, they got deleted. I'm making videos in favor of the jaywalkers. I'm not allowed to pronounce this word here, just read it yourself here. Don't say it out too loud, you know, you might get arrested. It got deleted. Video deleted by these ones here. And I'm against these ones. You understand this? I'm against it. So it all gets deleted, you know. Weaponized laws. So I had to go to here and put it on here. My whole channel got deleted. Huge parts of the European nobility, and especially in Germany, related to the order of the Teutonic Knights in Prussia, didn't want to put their European feudal slaves into that global blender, because they were their property and their feudal slaves in a tight and secure system. Why take the risk and change it? Of course, Britain, France, Belgium, and the Netherlands, with the many colonies, wanted the big blender for all their slaves, including the ones overseas, in an empire on which the sun never sets. But Germany didn't have any real colonies, or hardly any. So what for the big blender? It says, German colonialism, a short story. And a short story it was. Here you can see a German soldier here to the left and a Swiss soldier to the right. You can see the difference in helmets, standing at the border, the Swiss-German border, during World War II, and having a pleasant chat. And in the end, the German nobility, together with the Swiss Nazi Templars, said to each other, "We'll show you what we'll do with your big blender. And we'll start with Pharaoh's first product and chosen ones, to get this idea out of this world once and for all." And they almost succeeded. Therefore, I don't really agree when the jaywalkers talk about the righteous amongst the nations when talking about the Second World War and the Nazis trying to eliminate Pharaoh's first product once and for all. They even say there have been only 24,356 righteous Europeans. But this is outrageous and should be qualified as hate speech, because the jaywalkers imply that all the other Europeans are not righteous. This is hate speech. First of all, because the whole idea of the genocide on the jaywalkers derives out of a part of the nobility and their octagon Swiss Nazi Templars, and not out of the simple European peoples, not even the German people, who didn't even know what was going on in the Nazi camps, as you didn't want to risk your neck approaching the camps too near. And most camps were not even in Germany, but in Poland, far away from any influence of the average European or German people. So the proofs are here in this video. It's called the Nobility World Wars, as you can see here, which won't even show because Google doesn't want you to see this. So you have to go into the video section of the same channel here, Giureh, and scroll down. Otherwise it won't even show. And the rest of the proofs, amongst other, are in this series, The Swiss Beast, Home of the Devil. Here's part 1, the New World Order Nazi Templars from Switzerland, on the same channel. So it's the same thing. You go into the video section and you have to scroll down all the way down until you find it, because our masters don't want you to see this video, you know. And it is in 5 parts. It will take you 18 hours. And we must be able to talk about this because, you know, I don't want this to happen again, you know, all these genocides. And we haven't dug far enough into it, you know, who's really behind it. And these videos show who's really behind it. And I tell you, it's not the European peoples, it's not even the Germans. It's Pharaoh. So, with the expression righteous among the nations, the jaywalkers imply that the only good Europeans were the ones who risked their necks, their own necks, for saving some jaywalkers, and that the rest of the Europeans are not righteous at all. This is a horrendous, very discriminating and nearly racist thing to say. And if you realize what is finally being literally said here, the message is really shocking and absolutely disgusting. This is hate speech and should be censored. I also lost my grandfather in 1942 because of these damn Nazis. While he was not particularly saving any jaywalkers at the moment of his death in his mission for the Navy intelligence, meaning my grandfather died as a supposedly unrighteous person among the nations, with which the jaywalker community, with this very shocking expression, smears the memory and ultimate sacrifice of my grandfather against the Nazis, only because at the time and moment of his death he was not risking his neck for the jaywalkers. Here you can read it yourself in Wikipedia or in the Righteous Among the Nations website. So, you can say people have been acting righteous, but you can't say that only 24,000 people of the Europeans were righteous and the rest were not. You can't say this. It's horrific. Yeah, look, and whom, they're giving away like a medal or something to the righteous, well, I can't even pronounce this. Well, they're getting honored. And who's getting honored, look, the award, it's an award, has been given without regard to the social rank. No, of course not. No, not to this. But they're giving it to the royalty as a Princess Alice of Battenberg. Oh, looks like a bloke. Or the Queen Mother Helen of Romania. And Queen Elizabeth of Belgium. Another pharaoh. Look at that pharaonic thing on her head. And here it says, the award has been given without regard to social rank. Whom are they giving it to? To princesses and queens and kings, and it's another thing, from pharaoh to pharaoh. I mean, these are the ones who organized the genocide, this pharaonic bunch. And again, let me tell you one more time, you can say, officially, that the actions of certain persons were righteous, but you can't say this, that only these 24,000, they were righteous and the rest were not, even by law, this is forbidden, it's hate speech. And you smear the memory of my grandfather who was killed by the Nazis, you really do. Let me tell you, my dear jaywalker friends, of whom I hope that they will still be my jaywalker friends after they've heard me revising this absolutely horrendous, aggressively condemning expression towards the European peoples, who were all victims themselves in this Nazi dictatorship in which all Europeans, including the Germans, were living in constant fear for his or her own life and one's children. There's no need to divide the Europeans into righteous ones and not righteous ones, and even insinuating that only a few were righteous and the rest were not. You can't possibly do this. These damn Nazis, they even hanged their own German children, as you can see here, only because they were looking for food, because they were hungry. It says in German, plündern wird mit dem Tode bestraft. It means pillaging will be punished by death. But it was not pillaging, just looking for food, The Nazis even killed their own German children, so... Dear jaywalker friends, your horrendously shocking expression, righteous among the nations, therefore also implies that you, jaywalkers, yourselves would risk your necks for any other person in peril. Now, do you really know? No, definitely not. You absolutely don't. Here it says, after all I've done with the snake here, hiding in the bushes, and after all the work I did for you, explaining you jaywalker friends of mine, who really is behind World War II and its genocide, and changing many neo-Nazis worldwide and in Germany, that not the jaywalkers are the masters of the world, as these neo-Nazis and Muslims thought, but that Pharaoh is behind it all, helping many young, misled neo-Nazis to exit, similar to what you can see here in the image. It says, exit the swastika in your head. I risked my neck for you jaywalkers, but you were not there to save my life. When I asked for help to open up a bank account in your name for me, or rent a housing facility in your name for me, or when I asked for help at your embassy, you turned your head away. And if not, in my rotten situation, sleeping outside for 6 long years in the forest, in the snow, in winter, plus those sanitary bug war restrictions, making things hell for a homeless. If not, I had the help 3 times during some lockdown winters, and if not having had the help of those unrighteous Europeans, I would have perished in one way or another, from exhaustion, from the cold, from authority measures during the lockdowns, or an accumulative combination of it all. So you can see a little bit of it here. On the same channel, homie Hross sleeps 3 long winters. Well, it lasted for another 3 more winters, and it's not over yet. Out in snow because of Swiss Nazi terror. Yes, okay. Some jaywalkers were helpful, like one jaywalker man from the Middle East sent me a new tent. And one jaywalker, a woman, had me bring a lot of money by this dude here. And which you can see in this film here, same channel, here's the title. But what can I do with all that money when all the laws in Europe are so restricted that I couldn't fill in the obligations for renting just a room without showing a passport, which I don't have, needing to pay 2 months in advance, show them 2 months salary, which I don't have, and needing to officially inscribe at the authorities, which I can't do because of the Swiss murder threats by the Swiss Nazi authorities and by the Swiss Nazi police and their octagon. I just couldn't get out of this rotten situation, no matter how hard I tried, and I stayed in the snow, in the forest, for some more years. Same channel, here's the title. Yeah, I read it for you here. We remember and pay tribute to the righteous among the nations, those extraordinary people who risked their lives by saving jaywalkers during the genocide. Well, I guess this here is a one-way lane and absolutely unilateral in its idea and foundations, which I had to find out the hard way, even without any risks at all for saving one's life. There were no jaywalkers at all to pull me out of the snow and out of the forest. So I had a lot of time to think this over. You can believe me. It's a one-way lane without any lane leaving the dark and cold forest. I don't believe jaywalkers are bad or evil people. No, of course not. And yes, they can be helpful. Absolutely. But please, don't judge the Europeans upon some very discriminatory expressions and very close to the very standards of Nazism itself. Concerning actions you yourself would not even be capable of doing in return. I mean, this single phrase says it all, what I'm trying to tell you in this video. I quote, "Be a good person, but don't waste time to prove it." I repeat, be a good person, but don't waste time to prove it. For you, my jaywalker friends, it would have been so easy to rent something in your name or open a bank account in your name. But you didn't, because you thought that could have been risky, let alone risking your neck, what you demand from others, and yet not even willing to take the smallest risk, which is in fact no risk at all. And in fact, this great jaywalker here, by the name of Simon Wiesenthal, a person whom I respect a lot, says exactly the very same thing as I do. I quote, "I know I'm not only the bad conscience of the Nazis, I'm also the bad conscience of the jaywalkers, because what I have taken up as my duty was everybody's duty." And he says, in fact, that the jaywalkers themselves did not even act themselves as those so-called righteous among the nations did. Meaning, this great jaywalker agrees with me, what I'm trying to say here. And I show it one more time in order to pay respect to the Honorable Mr. Wiesenthal. I quote, "Be a good person, but don't waste your time trying to prove it." And also this famous jaywalker here, by the name of Albert Einstein, says the same as I do. And I quote here, "The world is a dangerous place to live, not because of the people who are evil, but because of the people who don't do anything about it." So he's having an excellent knowledge about himself and about his roots, because he himself did nothing against evil. On the contrary, even, as he helped developing the atom bomb. But hey, well said, Mr. Einstein. I'm sorry, I can't say it out loud due to the perfect dictatorship and its censorship. So watch the message in the picture here to understand. Allegedly, 200,000 women in Israel have no more menstrual cycles since this happened. As I've explained you 2 years ago in this video here on my other channel, when it all started, It's on Pharaoh's agenda to make us all infertile. And then they put this under it because these ones, they know it all. You must listen to these ones, eh? Listen to Pharaoh. And this is in Geneva, Switzerland. Listen to the Swissies, eh? They know it all. On my other channel, here's the title. And when I saw how obediently you jaywalkers in Israel had yourselves pushed in taking Pharaoh's poison due to Pharaoh's bug war, I thought by myself, okay, this is the most obedient people, or rather Pharaoh's product, in the entire world, who let themselves once more led to the slaughterhouse without any resistance at all, just as during the horrific events of World War II. And I thought to myself, this really is God Pharaoh, his chosen people. A pharaonic product made to obey and serve Pharaoh. I'm not angry with you jaywalkers, but I'm utterly disappointed. And I hope you jaywalkers can see that in spite of you letting me hang, that I, homie Hross, am still there to help and guide you. Because I'm aware that you are, in fact, Pharaoh's first victim and Pharaoh's obedient product. But do not, and I repeat, do not imply that those Europeans who didn't do what you're not even capable of yourselves are unrighteous people. Because the vast majority of Europeans are not responsible for the horrific actions of Pharaoh's nobility and their Swiss Nazi Templars during World War II. The European peoples and their children are not responsible for your traditional incapability to defend yourselves. Do I make myself clear? I love these secular jaywalker Bielski brothers of the true film Defiance, who had laid down Pharaoh's crippling religion, enabling the warrior's defense, which made the Nazis tremble. My dear jaywalker friends, I tell you that all rabbis, also called Rav, are in fact the Erev Rav. Just as the Pope with his Teutonic cross here, like Putin, the Teutonic Knight, and the Imams, it's all the same. It's all Erev Rav. Why do you think there's a crown here on top of it, eh? And if the rabbis, popes, imams, and the entire ecclesiastical leaders of this world and pharaonic realm really had this divine connection to this almighty entity in the sky, as they all claim, then these rabbis, popes, imams, and whatever would have been able to tell us directly through this alleged divine spirit what really happened during World War II, who were the ones behind it all, and that the vast majority of the Europeans and even the Germans are victims of those damn Nazis as well, who do not need to be implied to as unrighteous Europeans, only because they did not risk their necks for Pharaoh's chosen product of perfect obedience to the masters. A well-known rabbi of Los Angeles and a fan of my videos gave me some contacts of some religious jaywalker institutions in France, like the Chabad jaywalkers, who told me they'd think about it and they would contact me back when I asked them for help. And then I never heard anything anymore. They'd rather let me die in the forest, in my tent, in the snow. No righteous among the nations stuff in return. You might want to have a look at this video here. Here's the title. And there's a swastika on a Chabad house in Strasbourg. Here you can see the swastika on their house, on a jaywalker house, which is a bit odd, I might say, on my channel Gatzefrats. Oskar Schindler was what you jaywalkers call a righteous man among the nations, because he risked his neck for you jaywalkers and maybe for being unfaithful to his wife, with what he did. It says, a righteous Oskar Schindler, a righteous man among the Gentiles, the unforgettable lifesaver of 1,200 persecuted jaywalkers. Here you can see Oskar Schindler here in the middle, between the ones he saved. And when all your celebrations of honoring Oskar Schindler as a righteous among the nations were over, Oskar Schindler died as a poor, lonely and forgotten man, which you can read here. Similarly, as I felt all alone in my tent, in the forest, in the snow, during the various lockdowns, after all the work I did for you jaywalkers, even producing videos with all the proofs that the genocide deniers are lying, like this video here on Brighteon, as YouTube deleted this video. Here it is, and here's the channel. So here you can read it. It's a historical fact. You can find it everywhere. Oskar Schindler died alone, impoverished, and practically forgotten on the 9th of October 1974 at an age of 66. So here about Oskar Schindler on Wikipedia. Here he is, and you can read it all by yourself. Here, the righteous among the nations, there they are. And wow, look at this here. By the end of the war, Schindler had spent his entire fortune on bribes and black market purchases of supplies for his workers. He had to pay off the Nazis, right? Virtually destitute, he moved briefly to Regensburg and later to Munich, but didn't prosper in post-war Germany. In fact, he was reduced to receiving assistance from jaywalker organizations. Food, you know, he needed food to eat. In 1948, he presented a claim for reimbursement of his wartime expenses to the American Jaywalker Joint Distribution Committee and received $15,000. He estimated his expenditures at over $1,056,000. So for over 1 million, he got back like 15,000. Yeah, that's supposedly a life was worth, or 1,000 lives. So, and here, this is interesting. Here, down here, he and his wife Emily were named righteous among the nations, an award bestowed by the state of Israel on non-jaywalkers, who took an active role to rescue jaywalkers during the genocide. So here, his wife Emily, she was also a righteous among the nations, and she also helped saving. So, well, let's have a look what happened to Emily, if they forgot her as well. Here, Emily Schindler, who helped her husband to save more than 1,000 jaywalkers. Schindler's widow left to die in bitterness and poverty in Argentina. So this is a fact, you can read it everywhere. Wikipedia, it's everywhere. So both of them, they died alone, forgotten, and oh. Look, this one here, Abdul Hussein Sardari, that's the word Sar for king, interesting. He was an Iranian diplomat in 1940, and they call him the Muslim Oscar Schindler, and he saved the lives of thousands of Iranian jaywalkers in wartime Paris. Let's have a look how he died. You can, well, you can read the whole story if you want. Oh, look at that, there we are. Mr. Sadari neither sought nor received much recognition for his efforts in his lifetime, and died lonely in a bed sit in Croydon, South London in 1981. Wow, very honoring. The Jaywalker statement about the righteous among the nations is horrendous and discriminatory, and should be forbidden for hate speech and appeal for discrimination of peoples under false assumptions. It's a typical Nazi expression, like you are good and you are not good. Is it the fault of the Europeans that this obedient, chosen product of Pharaoh were obedient to the Swiss Nazi Templars? No, it's not. And then, only a couple of years after the disaster of the camps, Pharaoh and his Erev Rav wizard say, oh, it was all part of the plan, which has been written down 2,000 or 3,000 years ago. Isn't it beautiful? Hallelujah. Is that the fault of the Europeans? That the jaywalkers believe that everything has been written down already, and there's nothing you can do about it to change that? And they swallow it down like the sweetest fairy pie of all times, as Pharaoh's product loves the system and obedience, chosen to obey and serve Pharaoh in the Oriental world of lethargic fatalism. Therefore, by law, it is not allowed to criticize the jaywalkers, punishable with many years in prison, especially about this here, which I better not pronounce. You never know. Did the jaywalkers themselves set these free speech terror laws in place? No, Pharaoh did, because it concerns his favorite product, his chosen product, and his main objective and cosmopolitan agenda to destroy all homogeneous peoples and make one huge product out of it, as their agent Hitler already announced. One people, one leader, and one empire. That's the agenda. So Mark Zuckerberg, who is a jaywalker, from the Facebook company, he says this: I'm a jaywalker, and there's a set of people who deny that the genocide happened. I find that deeply offensive, but, well, at the end of the day, I don't believe that our platform should take that down, because I think there are things that different people get wrong. I don't think that they are intentionally getting it wrong. So that's what I'm telling you. This guy is a typical Erev Pharaonic jaywalker, and the pharaohs, they are amongst all peoples, and this is definitely one of them. Otherwise, he wouldn't be the owner of Facebook and all that. And you know, and the pharaohs, they want to set people up against each other, just as these laws about this here and this have been set in place by Pharaoh, so Pharaoh can set peoples up against each other, and hatred is growing again against the jaywalkers because of these laws, because people don't like it when their liberty and freedom of speech is getting raped. And Hitler betrayed everyone, both the Germans and the jaywalkers, because in the end, it's only about one thing: total control for Pharaoh, ruling over a dumb slave race. So this here is what Mark Zuckerberg says: genocide deniers deserve a voice. Here it says, because Pharaoh understands that these laws are counterproductive and making people hate the chosen ones again. Personally, I like the cosmopolitan lifestyle, meeting many different cultures in one place and try to be friends with everyone. But I don't like the evil idea behind an idea covered in blood, deception, endless wars due to Pharaoh's endless lies. By the way, when the Bible talks about the divided kingdom, it actually refers to Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt. The per-head White House of Upper Egypt and the per-tasser Red House of Lower Egypt. I have nothing against jaywalkers. They are who they are and have a good sense of humor and all that. I have nothing against Americans, nor against Russians either. And among the best and most loyal visitors of my videos are a majority of some very good Americans. I have no problems with immigrants, nor with people from other races. And I even made videos to help them. Here, I'll read it out loud for you. I'm never smoking weed with immigrants again. I asked for papers, and they all ran. I just want all peoples and all tribes to unite against this terrible enemy within, with their neutral base in the Alps, who always try to divide humanity and setting people up against each other. As we see. My dear friends, the truth can be a hard and bitter pill to swallow, and especially in this film. But it has to be said, so we may advance as a whole. Sorry for being straightforward, but I just don't like pissing around the pot. If you really need to, you may call me the old piss pot. And while talking about the urinary tract, is the aim of Vladdy the Liar to take Russia down the drain in order to destroy the still homogeneous nature of the Slavic peoples, in order to make a Western melting pot product out of these still homogeneous tribes, who as a homogeneous people have one skin color, nation-wise speak one single language with one single homogeneous cultural tradition. Ukrainians out, immigrants in. And there are already 2 million Ukrainians out. Through the Ordo Apkao of Pharaoh Putin's war in the Ukraine, perfectly shown on the Ukrainian channel here of Yulia Valova, where hatred between the Slavic brother nations is building up, together with Putin's crimes against humanity. This channel of Yulia Valova shows the most genuine and uncensored footage of the brutality of Russia's crimes on the Ukrainian people. So here it is, Yulia Valova. I suppose that's her here as well. These are some of her videos with war footage you find nowhere else. And again, it's all related to this. This is the agenda in order to break the backbone of a homogeneous people. So this is homogeneous. You can see the Japs here. It's a society made up of people who share the same culture, beliefs, language, and racial background, like Ukraine, Russia. And this is heterogeneous, a society made up of people with a variety of cultures, beliefs, languages, and racial backgrounds. So, like this here is New York City in the melting pot of the United States of America, and this here is Japan. Homogeneous, heterogeneous. Pharaoh's agenda to break the backbone of a people's identity. I wonder if Edward Snowden has thought of his Hross exit in order to avoid his 300 years US prison sentence when Russia comes crumbling down, which is inevitable because this is the agenda. This is Putin's aim. And here we get to reason number 2 for the Ukraine war, next to reason number 1 of snapping the backbone of a homogeneous people, like the Russians, Ukrainians, and the Slavs in general. So here you can see the worldwide statistics, the percentage of adults who would not take a bug war Pharaoh's poison. And here green, of course, light green is people who took it, like here, very obedient. This here, very obedient here. But these ones here, it's all black, here. That's why they call it the Black Sea. They are not very eager to take it. Neither here, this is the Ukraine, and here is Bulgaria, Romania. Ruskies and the Ukrainians don't want to take Pharaoh's poison against the bug war. So it needs a little ordo ab chaos, order out of chaos, in the form of a vicious war in which young Russian soldier boys and more looking like Boy Scouts are being sacrificed, saying, "I didn't know I was going to Ukraine. Everything turned out to be a lie." And Ukrainian civilians being bombed out of their houses. As you can see on the map, Russia and the Ukraine are the places on earth where the people's reluctancy to obey Pharaoh and take Pharaoh's poison is the biggest in the world, compared to Israel being the exact opposite on Pharaoh's so-called sanitary spectre. On one side, Pharaoh's most obedient products on the planet, and on the other side, the most disobedient, homogeneous peoples on the planet, the Slavs. You might want to think that it might also be the other way around. That what you see here on the map and the reluctancy to take Pharaoh's poison is the number one reason, and the creation of a product out of a homogeneous people, number two. But then again, as I've been explaining you, that the resistance of a homogeneous people is far greater than that of a mixed product. So, in fact, reason number one and reason number two are one and the same thing in its essence, of which we can see the proof here in this map, that a homogeneous people has more stamina, more character, and more backbone to resist the enemy within and his various poisons and bio attacks. Of course, the Ukrainians are even far more homogeneous than the Russians, as the Russians have millions of so-called ethnic Russians, being Muslims, Asians, and whatever, inside the Russian Federation. But Russia is, of course, still not as heterogeneous as the Western melting pot product. And this is something that Pharaoh doesn't like, these homogeneous peoples, and needs to be destroyed by the masters for the obvious reasons. And what you can see here on the map, so where it's brown, they're all Ukrainians, so it's very homogeneous, except for a few Russians here, a few Bulgarians here, a few Hungarians here, very little, a few Moldovans here, and a few Romanians here, or the other way around, it's both light green, a few Russians here, it's very, very little. I mean, Russia wants to take all of this only because of this little dot here and this little dot here. So it's very homogeneous. It's one people. And because of what you see here on this map is the reason that the Ukrainians have such a fighting spirit, which is inspiring the whole world, and that they have such a union, because they are homogeneous. And this is what Pharaoh wants to destroy. Here you can see a religious map of Russia. Here it says, and Christianity, the Orthodox, everywhere where it's yellow. It's about 90% of the country is Orthodox Christian. The black here, the black triangle, is Protestants, a little bit here. Probably on the side of the Ukraine here. And then there's a whole lot of other things here, Buddhism, Islam, and Judaism, all these little dots here. And there is green. They have tribal cults, like old Slavic cults, apparently, and of course the Mongols and the shamans and all this. So of this 90% Christians are like 41% who are really active in their religion. They are really active Christians, and of which, and plus 4% who are from another religious affiliation, and 1.4% of another form of orthodoxy. And so it's about almost 50% who are really active Christians in Russia, whereas all these yellow, they are Christians on paper. So 90% of the Russians are Christians. So we can see here again a bloody war unfolding in the Ukraine by those murderous Christians, just as they did in 2 world wars. I have nothing against Christians, but I'm just accumulating the historical facts that in 2 world wars, millions of Christians butchered millions of other Christians. And these are Christian crosses on this World War II military cemetery, meaning there's a Christian buried underneath and butchered by another Christian, as it is happening once again in the Ukraine, where Christians are butchering other Christians, and no Christians standing up against this Christian butcher ritual. Look, here it says, Putin, defender of Christian faith and morality, with the cross of St. George and the concept of 3 for our masters, 3 swords. So St. George is the slayer saint of the Knights Templars. And look, the Christians believe that Putin is their savior. And now all those Christians follow him into another bloody war. I quote here, Russia became the leader of the global Christian right. Christians love to see their cross on their warlord's head, and it makes them ecstatic. But I hope they see the octagon too, here at the back of the Russian Pope. Russia is huge, with so much empty land, so it's weird waging another war, grabbing land from the neighboring state, the Ukraine, and saying the land belongs to Russia. It's a bit greedy, isn't it? Why do they need this teeny tiny piece of land in the Ukraine, while Russia has so much unused land in which you could fit in the Donbass and the Crimea more than 1,000 times, and I'm not exaggerating, more than 1,000 times easily. So why do they need this? So there must be another reason for waging this war in the Ukraine, other than what they say. Well, I give you the real reasons in this video here. So these statistics about this here, I can't pronounce it for you because of the total dictatorship and the total censorship we're in. They are from last year, December 2021, so they're quite new. Here's the Portugal 88%, Belgium 75%, France 70%, Germany 68%, UK 68%, and here it's going down, you know, getting in the Balkans and the Slavic countries. Croatia 48%, Romania 39%, Russia 39%, Ukraine 27%, Bulgaria 26%. So Pharaoh doesn't like this at all. And if you look at the bug war poison being administered here in these statistics, in the neighboring countries of Russia, like Bulgaria and Romania, and how low the percentage of actual clients is, it is clear that Pharaoh's elite will drag all neighboring countries, including Poland, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, Moldavia, and Belarus, into Putler's war and knock him around with some Ordo up KO to enable Pharaoh's infertilizing poison and massive immigration from Africa and Arabia as in the Western world. So here it says Vladolf Putler with his Ordo up cow. And again, I have no problems with immigrants. I'm an immigrant myself. I just have a problem with Pharaoh's agenda, killing millions and killing children by this monster, this Vladolf Putler. This is what I have a problem with, the agenda of Pharaoh. Just as I've shown you the Swiss Huber lookalikes bloodline of US President Herbert Hoover on the left-hand side and FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover on the right-hand side, and being very brachycephalic, as I explain in these videos here on my channel Homeland Security, entitled The Nazi Templars. And in this video here about the dolichocephalic index, this is European long heads, and the brachycephalic index, this is the round heads, only to be found in Swaziland. So this is like Putin, President Herbert Hoover, FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover by the name of Swiss Huber, in the video The Huns from the Alps on Homeland Security. It's a 10-year-old video, I just recently re-uploaded. And here you can see a Putin clone in Swaziland who came and aggressed me in 2013. Go and watch this video. Here's the title: Swiss Nazis ring at the door, hit, aggress and threaten the immigrant Hross on October the 10th, 2013 on channel G.I.U.R.E.H. And here I wrote some more about it. Well, you can read it yourself. There you go. Okay, so in Swaziland there are a lot of Putin models, maybe even Putin clones walking around. As you can see in this video here from 2013, almost 10 years ago, this Swiss Putin clone and his Swiss Nazi pals came ringing at the door in order to beat and physically aggress homie Hross, while the Swiss Nazi police was waiting around the corner in order to intervene and arrest homie Hross in case he would hit back, which homie Hross, wisely enough, did not. Keeping it for another day on my own terms, Swissy. Just wait, Swissy. I haven't forgotten this, Swissy. Yeah, I'll show you some more screenshots of the Swiss Putin who aggressed me physically and terrorized us as a whole family with his pals. In my time in Swaziland, I've seen at least 6 or 7 Putin clones, you know, doubles, or like, there's something terribly wrong with this country in the Alps, high up in the Alps, looking over the whole of Europe and having such an influence on the world. There's something terribly wrong, people. Very, very wrong things going on there. And here's the other one, the other Teutonic Knight. I mean, look at it. He's destroying Russia. He's terrorizing the Russian people. So therefore, is this guy Russian? No, he's not. Maybe someone can make a comparison picture, putting the 2 of them together, or a couple of them, like using these images here, because I don't know how to do it. And it's like, I've also seen Obama doubles, many, really many. I've seen J. Edgar Hoover doubles, many. Mengele doubles, even more. Remember the Swiss serial killer who looks like Joseph Mengele, the angel of death? There's something terribly wrong in this country. How is it possible in 2 world wars that we're not even attacked? And this guy here, he's having billions in Swaziland. His children are in school there, at school. His children were born in an elite clinic in the Tessin canton. I've been telling you for more than 30 years, I've been telling the world about this. There's something terribly wrong going on there. I mean, look at the mouth and the eyes, the front of his head, the whole skull form, the ears. It's the same, It's the same bloodline. It's all Templar stuff. I've been telling you. And out of the Knights Templars came the Teutonic Knights, who went there where Mr. Putin is born. Eh? This is the same bloodline, people. Remember how I got aggressed here as well in Swaziland by this priest of the Teutonic Knights Church. Same people. I never forget these faces of these Swissies, because they terrorized me and my family for 25 years. And they never stopped, Just like this Putin here. It's exactly the same thing. How he's terrorizing Russia, Ukraine, and the whole world. I mean, it's Swiss terror, It's exactly the same thing. And they got the same bloody skulls and the same expression, and they're doing the same stuff, and it's all Nazism. This one is a Nazi, the other ones who came aggressing me, they're all Nazis. It's the same bloodline, people, and they're not European. They're from Egypt. Yeah, look at it, the same narrow eyes like Mr. Putin, and they feel so strong, like being together against one person, and having the whole system behind them. They're so organized, I was feeling for 25 years in Swaziland like in Nazi Germany in the 30s. You can see it going on here, You can see it here. I mean, look at his face, this is the Putin bloodline. Hey, Swissy, you're not fooling me. Hey, you're not fooling me. I can see it straight in your eyes, And I never forget the faces of all these Swissies who aggress me. I won't forget my friends, and I don't forget my enemies. Hey, Swissy. It's like engraved in my head, like a DVD record, like a CD-ROM. It's engraved in my head, I'll never forget what you've done. I'll never forget your faces, Swissy. Yeah, what are you looking at, Swissy? Hey, you see me. And you called up the cops, eh? That I was filming you. But I hid I hid my camera with the SD card and the memory card. Got you, Swissy. Hey, got you. Now the whole world is gonna see you here and what you've done, Swissy. We can all see the hatred in your eyes. You know, you can see the Nazi organizing in your eyes. We can all see it, Swissy. Hey? Yeah. You're not gonna forget it, Swissy. Hey? I'll make you eternal, Swissy. And this here, you know, Ukraine, it was organized in Davos at the WEF, the World Economic Forum, you know, where you can see this Swissy here smiling with Biden and smiling with Trump and with Klaus Schwab, all of them, Macron, all having a good time there together. And Ursula von der Leyen, all together in Switzerland organizing this. Hey? I mean, we can all see it on the pictures, right? Pictures don't lie. And then here, the Swiss Mengele model clone to the right, the Swiss serial killer Thomas Nick, who also toured over the US with the original, the Angel of Death of Auschwitz to the left, who actually was into cloning and things like that, wasn't he now? And Mengele quietly lived in Switzerland after the war and went skiing with his son Rolf, who went to some pharaonic Swiss elite boarding school for the uppermost elite, just like the Putin kids. There's something rotten in the state of Switzerland. And so this is the video here. Here's the title on the channel Homeland Security. Go and watch it. Or here, where I went to the home and school of the North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un when he lived in Switzerland, which you can see in this older video here, where you can read how the Swiss Defense Ministry finances North Korea army training. This is from 2014. And this is the title of the video, original footage of dictator Kim Jong-un's Swiss school and North Korea army training in Switzerland, on my channel Gatsefrats. May 31, 2014. Here, this is South Korea and here's North Korea. And 90% of Asia is lactose intolerant. Yeah, it has the Freemason symbol, so to speak. 90% milk intolerance in Asia. So while the Koreans, as most Asians, are lactose intolerant and can't digest dairy products because of some missing enzymes, Kimmy Boy chews away on his Swiss cheese like a real Swiss hillbilly, in this case a hill Kimmy. Kim here is yet another of those Swiss sleeper agents on all key positions in the world, like the Teutonic Swiss Mr. Putin. This is what the Chinese call the banana man. Outside yellow, inside white. Here, I read it for you here in channel Marino Delfino. Here, UFO hovers above demonic Swiss police. And then this strange stuff happening when homie Hross got aggressed by this corrupt Swiss cop Hans Ruedi Kuni, after which Marino Delfino did some disturbing discoveries, which you can see in this film here. What's going on in Swaziland? Who or what are its inhabitants? And where do they really come from with their neutrality swindle and all? So here you can see the title of the video. UFO Black Eyes Swiss police assaulted on Doc Hross aka Giureh in 2013, Marino Delfino. So Marino Delfino, he's an expert on aliens and reptilians and this sort of stuff. I didn't even see it, but he saw it. And then I had to admit that he saw it right. He saw something because he's got a trained eye for it, which I don't. But he's absolutely right. This is really strange, the things going on. There was a UFO, something unidentified, hovering over. And the cop really had these demonic Swiss eyes. And, well, he was very aggressive and threatening me and my children, aggressing me, hitting me. And I had to go to prison for this because I filmed him. You know, that's how Swaziland works. And here, another analytical video on the brachycephalic skulls, predominantly both in Swaziland and in P-Rusia, the land of the Teutonic Knights, where Vladi the Teutonic liar is from. Yes, Putin has a Teutonic Prussian brachycephalic skull form just as the Swissies have, like his Swiss clone who aggressed me. And you can find this analytical video here with academic proofs on channel Homeland Security, entitled The Swiss Beast, Home of the Devil, Part 5, Per Set House of the Lord of Chaos. But as YouTube doesn't want you to see these kind of videos, you must go into the video section and scroll all the way down until you find it. I'm blacklisted, I'm shadow banned, I'm pink listed, and you won't find these videos, or quite rarely, if you punch in the title. It doesn't work. Anyway, the creatures of the Alps have developed an interesting system by occupying all key positions of a nation through infiltration instead of invasion, as Mr. Kennedy said, and then rob their host blind, transferring its entire national reserve onto a Swiss bank in their alpine safe haven. And these creatures have been doing this for ages, parasiting on the entire humanity. I quote, "For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations." President John F. Kennedy gave this speech at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel on April 27, 1961. And soon after, they murdered him. Hey, Swissy. Apparently, even some inhabitants of the Octagon in the Alps and their Templar-related flag in the middle are waking up. And I quote here, it's very bad English. It's like German, local German English. Like, Putin's wife and children are there, not in our name. Let's make 'em leave and freeze her assets. So Octagon's Swiss sleeper agent Putin has his own pack of mercenaries after this famous Swiss mercenary model called the Wagner Group. And Wagner is a Swiss-German. Maybe some Ukrainian freedom fighters go visit this sinister country that has such a fatal influence on the world and on Ukraine's future. It would certainly put some genuine pressure on Putin when some Ukrainian freedom fighters would go into the Alps and interview Putin's charming little family in Switzerland and make a video about it, asking them why their husband and father is murdering Ukrainian children. I'm sure Putler would be thrilled about the idea. Some Ukrainians armed with cameras go visit the Wagner base in the Alps. Now, why would a Russian who accuses the Ukrainian people of being Nazis have a Merc pack with a German name closely related to the Nazis and the Teutonic Knights? And that's why in one of their several logos of Putin's Wagner group with a Swiss-German name, there's the black Teutonic cross inside an octagon. Here you can see several Russian private armies called the Kontraktniki in Russian, meaning the contractors. And these ones here are active in the Ukraine. So you can see this Russian private military companies. And in the Ukraine, these and these here are active now. And here, this is another one of their Wagner logos here, Wagner Group. There is a Teutonic cross here in black, which is the Templars cross in black, and it's inside a octagon. Yeah. So there's absolutely no doubt about it. You know, it's all Putin is a Teutonic Knight. He's all based in Switzerland. The logos don't lie. It's all Templars, Teutonic Knights, octagon. You know. Putin's Wagner group is killing defenseless civilians and their children under the banner of the Black Templar Cross of Putin's Teutonic Knights, which you can see here. Nothing has changed. The Nazis have won the Second World War, and it's still the same ones ruling since 1,000 years and using their Swiss Templar base from 1291. Here's the ultimate proof that not the Ukrainians are the alleged Nazis, but in fact Putin and his vast Teutonic organization are. Vladdy the Liar, and another one of his evil lies. just turning the truth upside down, like the proverbial upside down Christian cross of evil. Always inversing things. The inversed cross, as you can see here. Inversed speech. Inversing truth into a lie. Look, here's the Pope's inversed cross. And they all have Templars crosses, as the Knights Templars and their Swiss Guard have already taken over the church after the 30-year War in 1648. So here's the Pope's inversed cross. This is a real picture. Here is his Teutonic Templar cross of the Pope in black. And here the dude has another Templar's cross here. Hitler's favorite composer, Richard Wagner, glorified the Teutonic Knights in his opera Tannhäuser. It says Tannhäuser, Minnesinger and Knights Templar with his Teutonic Knights cross. This is why Hitler wrote in Mein Kampf, and I quote here, "Whoever wants to understand National Socialist Germany must know Wagner." Adolf Hitler. Strange sentence, isn't it? And when I infiltrated Octagon of the Teutonic Swiss Nazi Templars in the Alps, I heard Swiss industrials talk about their Putin and the money and his children he was having in Swaziland. And I know, therefore, that Putin understands National Socialist Germany the way Hitler did, which is related to the Nazi Templars and their Teutonic Knights. Therefore, the name Wagner for Putin's personal Teutonic Knights. Putler's personal SS Schutzstaffel, the grandfather and name giver of Putin's little Nazi army by the name of Wagner, and whom you can see here to the right, and with his right hand hidden under his jacket, was a Freemason and a profound hater of jaywalkers, just as Hitler and Mr. Putin himself. Therefore, Wagner, in the picture himself, can be seen on every picture with the hidden right hand of Freemasonry. And as the Freemasons who come out of the Knights Templars, they were therefore never persecuted by the Nazis, which I've already explained you in my other videos, and I have given you all the proofs. Here it says Richard Wagner with the hidden hand of Freemasonry. So the Freemason Richard Wagner, and example of Mr. Hitler and being his big hero for Mr. Hitler, he said this here, and I quote, "It should not be presumed that these people, the jaywalkers, who are so separated from us by their religion, have any right to make our laws. But why blame the jaywalkers? It is we who lack all feeling for our own identity, all sense of honor." So you see, here's talking about the identity and the people here. He knows it, what I've been telling you about the people and the product. It is therefore Richard Wagner talks about the identity of a homogeneous people against the idea of a heterogeneous product. And that's why the jaywalkers must understand the contents of this video, whether they like it or not. If they don't, the genocides will happen again, with Mr. Putler starting with President Zelensky, the jaywalker, whom he and his Wagner organization hate very much. It says Putin's hatred of jaywalkers in the Ukraine, his hatred of Zelensky. Here's the, Hitler's man, Richard Wagner, lived 15 years in Switzerland, making it obvious where Wagner got all his funny ideas from. All roads always lead to Switzerland in the Alps, the base of Octagon of the Nazi Templars, where every crime against humanity gets organized, financed, and set in action. Here it says, the more than 15 years Richard Wagner spent in Switzerland. So here's Wikipedia about Richard Wagner. And I'll show you here. Look here, in exile in Switzerland from 1849 to 1858, more than 15 years. And it's actually here where he started to write things against the jaywalkers. Well, the whole article is interesting, but you know, yeah. Wagner's primary published output during his first years in Zurich was a set of essays in the artwork of the future. He described the vision of opera as Gesamtkunstwerk, in which the various, means total work of art, in which the various arts such as music, song, dance, poetry, visual arts and stagecraft were unified. Jaywalkerism in Music, 1850, was the first of Wagner's writings to feature anti-jaywalker views. The first, and he made it in Switzerland. So I hope you understand now why Putin, who has his whole family and all his money in Switzerland, why he has a Wagner group who are killing and murdering and butchering Ukrainian children. Do you understand this? In here, this polemic, Wagner argued frequently using traditional anti-jaywalker abuse that the jaywalkers had no connection to the German spirit, well, and so on and so forth. It started in Switzerland, as all the, like the Duke Hartwig von... Well, anyway, it's all in my video, The Swiss Beast, Home of the Devil, and the 18-hour pentology, The Swiss Beast, and in many more of my videos. It always leads to Switzerland. Just any crime against humanity that has been going on, it always comes out of this base in the Alps of the Octagon of the Knights Templars and their Teutonic Knights. So here, one more time, you get all the information about how Switzerland is behind all crimes against humanity throughout the centuries before, throughout history. It's on the same channel. Here's part 1, here you get part 2. It's a bit difficult to find. You have to go into the video section here and then scroll down, because YouTube censorship doesn't want you to see these videos for the obvious reason. I am blacklisted, I'm pink listed, I am I'm shadow banned, so if you put in the title, it won't pop out. It's in 5 parts. Part number 5 is on my other channel, which you can find here, Homeland Security. And you have to go into the video section and scroll down until you find it. Yeah, well, I guess YouTube loves Swaziland, hey? Probably got a lot of money stashed there as well. Hey, Google. So here you can see the Wikipedia site about the PMC, private military company Wagner, named after Hitler's hero, the composer Richard Wagner, who made the Teutonic opera called Tannhäuser. And it is interesting, the Wagner group is believed to be owned by Yevgeny Prigozhin, a businessman with close links to Russian President Vladimir Putin. It has been accused of war crimes in areas where it was deployed. And if you look at the logo, it has the typical Nazi colors, red, white and black. And the whole thing is in a circle for the concept of 3, meaning the compass. You can make a circle with a compass. And here you can see 4, the crosshairs, 4 things like the concept of 4. So it does say square and compass. And of course the death skull, like the SS, like the Nazis, it's a Freemason symbol. They put it in every lodge. They put a skull, like Skull and Bones, And if I only look at this here, this part, it's only the little top is not there, but this is definitely with, the smaller one here and the bigger one here. This is on the crest of Godefroy de Saint-Omer, one of the founders of the Knights Templars. And their leader is a Lieutenant Colonel, Dmitry Utkin. So here you see, they got their allies, opponents here. But you never know what's, I'll let you look at it yourself. Look, it has offices in St. Petersburg. This is Teutonic Knights area. It's right next to Prussia, St. Petersburg, I mean, the proofs are all over, people. It's all over. And so Wagner, like the Wagner group, he made the Teutonic opera called Tannhäuser. The Teutonic Order were also called the Third Order, like the Third Reich, das Dritte Reich. So they were also called the Third Order after the second other orders, the Hospitallers, then the Knights Templars chronologically, and then after that finally the Teutonic Order. And here you see the 2 blokes of the Knights Templars. So Tannhäuser was a Teutonic knight who fought in the 6th Crusade in the year 1228. And this is the typical Teutonic knight's outfit. And these wings are, of course, the Isis wings. Within the middle, the form of the Isis horns, which represents the horns of the cow Apis, the bull in Pharaonic. So here you can see the goddess Isis with the sun disk, and here the Apis horns of the bull, like APIS, like for the Advanced Personal Information System in the US. I made a video about it. And these are the Isis wings. So it's a combination of both, because we're being ruled by a foreign power. It's all occult, and they come from Egypt. See my videos. So it's in black because the pharaohs, sometimes they used black stone. I forgot the name of it, but so you know, there were no black pharaohs actually. All the mummies that have been found, they're all redheads actually. They had red hair and they were very white. So all you who are into Afrocentrism, just leave it. You know, it's not correct. Here you can see the historical Tannhäuser in his Teutonic outfit. Though this is from a picture from the year 1300, and the Crusades ended in 1291, the same date as their base Switzerland was founded. So here we can see the Isis wings within the middle, the horns, or here also the horns here, you see. The Apis horns, the bull of Egypt, here the Teutonic black cross. So this is the original like picture of those days. And so this is from Wikipedia. And so it depicts him, Tannhäuser, in the Teutonic order habit, suggesting he might have fought in the Sixth Crusade led by Emperor Frederick II. For a while, Tannhäuser was an active courtier at the court of the Austrian, well, etc. And so the guy really, you know, he really lived. And even Alistair Crowley wrote a play called Tannhäuser. Yeah. And also Oscar Wilde was somehow in it as well here. Tannhäuser, they're all sort of seem to be like attracted to Tannhäuser, right? So, you know, so they must have been all Freemasons, you know, because the Freemasons, they come out of this Tannhäuser, Templar, Teutonic Knight stuff. And they come all out of Egypt, eventually. One more time. The Apis horns and here the Isis wings, all together in the Teutonic Knights outfit. And apparently, I mean, the proofs are here that Putin, he's also into it. Otherwise, he would have never called his PMC Schutzstaffel Wagner, which is a bit odd for a Russian, eh? Don't you think so? It's very odd. A sort of patriotic Russian, at least that's what he's selling himself for, giving it a German name, and he says that he hates the Nazis. It doesn't fit. The guy's a liar, you know, and they turn it all around like the cross, you know. So he's not going after the Nazis. He is the Nazi. So here is the town of Tannhausen, where the name Tannhäuser is from. And you can see here it's in the south of Germany, which is called the Swiss buffer zone. They speak Alemannic here. And as I've explained in my videos, the Swiss mercenaries during the 30-year war, they murdered everybody here. And the Swiss massively settled down here. It's like the Swiss buffer zone. And the Tann, it's like a fir tree. And Hausen, it means the house, like here. The fir tree and the house, which is of course a royal house, you know. And this is probably a reference to a pyramid or something. But this is definitely a royal house, like the Perhet and the Pertasser of Pharaoh. And here you can see the Tannhausen castle, the typical Swiss castle. All these Swiss castles, they got these things here for the in front of the windows in red and white, Templars colors, with a Templar V in it. And there are 4 in red for the concept of 4 and 3 in white for the concept of 3. Here it says the Lord of Tannhausen. And in their crest you can see in the middle the Teutonic cross. Freiherr means a baron. So nobility, Teutonic knights, Tannhausen. Yeah. This is a real picture, though it looks a bit like out of a Charlie Chaplin film. I don't know. I hope you all see here the pharaonic sun hieroglyph, the hieroglyph of Pharaoh here. This is the hieroglyph for the sun here in the middle. And this symbol actually is the, it says square and compass. The circle here, it's a, with a compass you can make a circle. And this is, here you go, 1 square, 2 square, 3 square, 4 square. It says square and compass. All the people who are initiated in the Masons, they see immediately square and compass. And it has also the concept of 4, once more for the square. And also here 4 of these things here. And so this is a real picture with the real dude here. So every year Hitler, he went to the Richard Wagner Bayreuth Opera Festival, which to this very day has become a hotspot for octagons Nazis from all over the world. Like the recent scandal over the Russian bass baritone opera singer Yevgeny Nikitin going to perform at the Wagner plays in 2012 with a swastika on his chest. Here he is on the picture. I mean, I've never seen an opera singer like this, but I guess maybe he was a member of the other Wagner group who just had a good voice, eh? And the Russian also has the inversed pyramid of death on his chest with the Templar V here. And this is the same symbol. These poor people in Auschwitz, the political prisoners and the other inmates, they had this on their left chest, just as this Rusky here. So this is definitely, it's Wagner plays, the Wagner group. He's probably a friend of Mr. Putin as well. So this guy, he's deep, deep, deep into it. And they're making a big scandal. Because the Bayreuth Wagner plays, it really is a hotspot for the elite Nazis of Octagon nowadays, and it has been ever since the 20s and the 30s, and and they know it, people. I mean, look, this is a swastika. Here's the Auschwitz triangle, the Templar V here. I mean, these are the initiated ones, eh? So here you can see him, Yevgeny Nikitin, and here you can read about his the tattoo controversy. So here, Nikitin was scheduled to sing the role in Wagner's opera The Flying Dutchman at the opening of the 2012 Bayreuth Festival. There it is. Which would have made him the first Russian in history to assume an opening title role there, etc. And the tattoos suggested Nazi sympathies, which the singer subsequently denied. Yeah. Well, he had the inverse triangle of Auschwitz as well on his chest, eh? Here, the main controversial tattoo in the video, still images, a partly covered swastika had been completely covered by a large 8-pointed star designed by the time of the Bayreuth withdrawal. So he put instead an 8-pointed star, octagon, like under the logo of the Wagner Group. Remember, it was one of their logos had a Templar's cross on an octagon. Yeah, and he explained that the swastika never had been his intention. Yeah, okay, that you just made it was a coincidence. He made a swastika on his chest. It was a coincidence. I mean, yeah. So that's Wagner, Bayreuth. It's a hotspot for Nazis, and it always has been, and it goes on. Oh, and the swastika guy, Yevgeny Igorovich Nikitin, he was trained at the St. Petersburg Conservatory. Well, St. Petersburg is Teutonic Knights, it's Putin, it's swastikas all over, and Auschwitz, inversed pyramids and octagons, and the Wagner Group, just like this Wagner play here, the Bayreuth play. So it all fits together. Right? It all converges in St. Petersburg. So here you can read in Wikipedia about the Bayreuth Festival and here Richard Wagner. The Bayreuth Festival is a music festival held annually in Bayreuth, Germany, at which performances of operas by the 19th century German composer Richard Wagner are presented. So here you can see the house here, the Bayreuth house, and here you can see the inversed pyramid of death here at the lawn. I tell you, people, they know it because this is the elite of the Nazis coming here. They know this stuff. Eh? I mean, you don't do this by accident, eh? And it's all, I mean, especially with the history it all has, eh? Which is still going on. So here you see about the Bayreuth under Nazi Germany. So I'll show you shortly about this. Here, Bayreuth under Nazi Germany in the 1920s, well before the rise of Nazi Party, Winifred Wagner, she was English, by the way, became a strong supporter and close personal friend of Adolf Hitler. Her correspondence with Hitler has never been released by the Wagner family. She and other festival leaders were members of Nazi chief ideologue Alfred Rosenberg Kampfbund für deutsche Kultur, which actively suppressed modernist music and works by degenerate artists. The festival maintained some artistic independence under Nazi rule. So there's Wagner, the Wagner Group, Nazis. I mean, you can see this, Hitler, it was his favorite hangout here, So why does Putin, who says he hates the Nazis, why does he call it the Wagner Group, eh? Come on, people. They rub it under our noses, yeah. The composer, Richard Wagner, hated the jaywalkers, and his daughter-in-law, Winifred Wagner, maiden name Marjorie Williams, from England, whom you can see here, together with Adolf Hitler. She became a very close friend of Adolf Hitler in the same year of 1923, when Hitler was in Zurich, Switzerland, here in this original Swiss picture. So this is Wikipedia about Winifred Wagner, and she was born Marjorie Williams. and she lived until 1980. She was a friend and supporter of Adolf Hitler himself, a Wagner enthusiast. So, if you hear Wagner, a Wagner group, you know it's related with this here. In 1923, Wagner met Adolf Hitler, who greatly admired Richard Wagner's music. When Hitler was jailed for his part in the Munich beer hall putsch, Wagner sent him food parcels and stationery on which Hitler's autobiography Mein Kampf may have been written. In the late 1930s, he served as Hitler's personal translator during treaty negotiations with Britain. And he had the Bayreuth Festival. So, you can read it yourself. And here we see the English connection to Hitler, Wagner, and the origins of World War II with the British Baroness Unity Valkyrie Mitford, another Hitler supporter of the English nobility. But okay, I could reveal to you a lot more concerning this. But I just wanted to explain about Putin's Wagner group and very un-Russian name of this Teutonic pack of assassins, enemy of the Russian people and, of course, enemy of the Ukrainians. So here you see Ride of the Valkyries by Richard Wagner, and the same name as the Baroness Unity Valkyrie Mitford was a personal friend of Adolf Hitler. The Wagner group and its funny choice of name for a Russian is another proof of Putin being in the order of the Teutonic Knights, who are the northern branch of the Knights Templars. And as you can see here, they are just as multinational as the Templars were and still are. These are the Knights Templars, the descendants. This is absolutely Octagon of the Nazi Templars in action. And they got all their money stashed in Switzerland, of course. And even Aleister Crowley, who spent a lot of time in Switzerland, he had a child with a Swiss lady. Aleister Crowley also wrote a play called Tannhäuser, as Aleister Crowley had his Thelema temple in Sicily right next to the Teutonic Knights commandery of Palermo, which I explain in this video here. Here's the Teutonic Templars cross. Here's St. Petersburg, about here. This is all Teutonic Knights territory and Prussia. And here is Palermo, like here, where the Thelema temple is just right next to it. And here it says, "Kommt zu rein und Burgen des Deutschen Ordens." The "Kommt zu rein," it means commanderies and castles of the Teutonic Knights. It's all connected, all these people, they're all connected. And so here's the title of the video, and it's on the same channel here. So go and have a look. And at a certain moment, all four of them lived in Munich, Germany, at the very same time. Adolf Hitler, Aleister Crowley, Ian Fleming, and Prince Bernhard zur Lippe Biesterfeld, the guy who founded the Bilderbergers. So I explained that in this video here. It's like 10 years old. So here you can see Unity Valkyrie Mitford, again the Baroness, personal friend of Adolf Hitler. Well, she was there as well. So here's the title on this channel here. The Nazis won the Second World War while the Germans lost the war. I can assure you that it is no coincidence that Russia is almost written the same way as Prussia. The only difference is the P from Putin. Prussia without a P becomes Russia, thus giving the answer to the question, what happened to the Prussians and where did they go to? Here, look at the word. If I take the P away, you get Russia. Putin's P. Colonizing Prussia or colonizing Russia, maybe. Mr. Putin here can tell you the whole story about the disappearance of the Prussians or Prussians. I mean, why else would a Slavic country like Russia aggress another Slavic country, huh? And Putin, the Teutonic, and his Wagner boys seem to be heading for World War III. But the war will be restricted to Eastern Europe and its Slavs because of this here and the reasons I explained to you before in this video. The whole Nazi thing is pure evil, satanic, and directed against the European peoples, and especially directed against those who seek to unite in order to preserve their national and ethnic identities against Pharaoh's agenda. It's the same in World War II. Here it says nationalism had unified Germany and Italy. Hitler, he's pretended to be for the German people until the moment he had them all united, and then he destroyed them. Putin, he did the same. Here the pan-Slavism, Slavic nationalism, wake up Slavic peoples, the desire to unite all of the Slavic people under one empire. So Putin, he's pretending to be in favor for the pan-Slavism and the Slavic national identity. So he pretends to be uniting them, but in fact his goal is to destroy them, both Ukrainians, Polish, Russians, the lot of them. It's the same technique, people. It's over and over again. They use the same technique. Do you get it? Watch the channel here of the Ukrainian Yulia Valova and see in her videos the work of Putin's Teutonic Knights. Her channel looks quite harmless. Well, I can tell you, the videos are not. You can already see this in the thumbnails. Really a lot of bloody videos. And in this video of hers, you'll see a 10-year-old European girl from the Ukraine die, and the parents cry because of these global politicians, gangsters of Pharaoh. So there's her channel again, and here's the title. And here in this channel by the name of Dronescapes, you can see some more genuine, hardcore war footage made by the people themselves and not by Pharaoh's prostitutes. You can see the thumbnails. There you go. I guess the Ukraine war is gonna be the best documented war ever. Even with high definition footage from above by the various drones hovering around, which will make you feel like being in Hollywood's Terminator 5. The drone wars. Welcome to the future. Here we can see Vladi the Liar holding a recent 2022 speech in Moscow during the Ukraine war, and standing in between the two Masonic pillars of Yachin and Boaz. A lot of blue for Pharaoh's war crown, with blue arrays symbolizing the winds of war like a storm raining down on the Ukraine and on Europe. The white, blue and red pharaonic crown colors in the Russian flags, the double-headed phoenix for the old world order and the new world order of Pharaoh's nobility combined in the Republic. Therefore, the crown and the slayer saint of St. George, the patronage of the Knights Templars and the Baltic branch of the Teutonic Knights, to whom Vladi the Liar belongs to. So here you see Putin standing here, and the same thing you can see once more here. And this is white for the Perhet, the White House, for Upper Egypt, which stands for the New World Order. So here you can see the two pillars of the Freemasons, Yachin and Boaz. And here the arrays, and blue, it stands for the war crown of Pharaoh, because that's where they all come from, And these are like the winds of war, because blue is Pharaoh's war crown. The flag of the Russia, the Russian Federation, it's white, blue and red. Red is the old world order, the Pertasser, meaning Lower Egypt, stands for the Red House, meaning Pertasser. White is Upper Egypt in the south, in Demotic Pharaonic, that is Perhet, meaning the White House, and it stands for the New World Order. So pharaohs in the United Kingdom, they had a white crown and a red crown, and when they united the kingdom, they put the two crowns together. And Pharaoh also had a blue crown, the crown of war. That's why the whole picture is predominantly blue. So all the initiates, they know, well, war is going on and we're going to prepare wars, and etc. Here you see the double-headed phoenix. It is a phoenix. One head is for the old world order, the old vertical rule of Pharaoh, of the feudal system of the aristocracy who come out of Pharaoh. And on the other side is the New World Order. And it's a double-headed bird because they united, after the revolution, which was only a transition from the old world order to the New World Order. But the old world order and the old aristocracy, they still have a lot of rights. And so I explained it all in my film, The Swiss Beast, in the 18-hour pentology. That means 5 parts. The Swiss Beast, Home of the Devil. And also in the my video, the nobility's the nobility world wars. Here you can see Saint George, which is the patron of the Knights Templars and also of the Teutonic Knights, to whom he down here belongs to. And this is also why he has a red tie. It stands for this one here, the Old World Order, because the guy is definitely of aristocratic descent. So it's here the crowns, of course, you know, the crowns, because it all comes out of the nobility, both the horizontal rule now or here and the old vertical rule of the feudal system. And I explain this also in another video on my same channel, Giureh. So it all means that Putin, he's highly initiated. Everything is occult. Every part of this image is occult, and it symbolizes a certain meaning. And the British royal house, they also have this in the, you know, you see you always see the Queen having this on her chest, because it's one and the same thing. You know, it's not only the patron of the Knights Templars and the Teutonic Knights here, Saint George the Slayer Saint. So watch my film Slayer Saints Pray and Slay, I think it was. And but also the Queen has it, and they have both. They have Saint George the Slayer Saint, like the Georgia Guidestones. I mean, this is where it's coming from, you know. And both, and the Archangel Saint Michael, and that's the Archangel Saint Michael is the patron of the mafia. So they got a legal mafia like this here, because out of the Knights Templars, the whole uniformed gang, army, I mean the higher grades, police, you know, who are controlling the slaves, they all come from this. And this is again also the double-headed thing, you know. On one side, like, they have their legal mafia, and the other side the illegal mafia, like the Vorizagonia, the Russian mafia. And on the other side you got the Komitet Gosudastweno Bezopasnosti, the sort of a legal mafia, the KGB, now called FSB, of whom this guy, he was a colonel or lieutenant colonel in it. So Yachin and Boaz, it's completely occult. And I mean, this guy is not Russia, he's not even European, it's all from Pharaoh, right? And here, 8 times the horizontal rule of the octagon of the Knights Templars. Here they are, 8 times the horizontal rule, standing for octagon. Here there are 4 flags for the concept of 4, and it's all occult. You know, these people, you know, they're not from Europe, they're not Europeans, they are foreign power. They originally come from Egypt, and they want to destroy the Europeans. They want to destroy the white race. And here, once more, the top part of that picture you just saw before with the 8 horizontal lines, and here with Saint George in the middle, and here down here you see Putin, but it didn't fit in the picture. Yeah, in the frame, I mean. So this is the dragon. Saint George is killing the dragon, and the dragon is us, the Europeans. We are the dragon, and the whole of mankind actually are. You know. On top of the image, you see 3 Templar crosses standing for the 3 orders, emerging into one, called the Third Order. The 3 orders are the Hospitallers, the Knights Templars, and the Teutonic Knights. And as in Russia, the Teutonic Knights and their Mr. Putin rule over the Russian Federation. Therefore, the big crown in the middle at the top, standing for the Teutonic Knights, who derive out of the Knights Templars and the Hospitallers, who are all three symbolized by crowns, because the three orders derive out of the nobility. The wings of the birdie are spread the same way as on a Teutonic Knight outfit and helmet, and the same way as their goddess Isis of this enemy of mankind. I reveal to you now and here why I always say birdie 2 times. Well, it's because this pharaonic bird of prey has 2 heads. Birdie. In the left claw, birdie holds the earth with a Templar's cross in it, because the Templars rule over the entire earth with their new republican horizontal rule of the octagon Nazi Templars. When I infiltrated the Swiss octagon of the Nazi Templars in the Alps, Swissy usually referred to their man Putin as the Black Prince. Their Teutonic Knight dressed in the traditional Teutonic black, the Black Prince. The earth here next to the Black Prince and the Templar's cross ruling over the earth is showing 2 squares, and the whole thing is in a circle symbolizing the compass, because with a compass you can make a circle. Thus, the whole item saying square and compass of the Freemasons, with 13 circles covering the relatively short vertical rule of the feudal Old World's order and the larger horizontal rule of the republican New World Order. 13 circles because of Friday the 13th, 1307, when the Knights Templars got arrested in France, and 9 circles on the horizontal line because the horizontal rule got initiated by the 9 original Knights Templars like Hugues de Payens, Godefroy de Saint-Omer, and the rest. Pharaoh's magic wand in Birdie's right claw I might explain you some other time, because it will take a lot of time and this video is already getting far too long stretched. Watch my video on Saint George entitled Slayer Saints Pray and Slay here on the same channel in order to understand more about why the Black Prince is showing Saint George the Slayer Saint everywhere in each photo taken in Moscow. So here's Slayer Saints Pray and Slay, and also watch this one. Here's the title on the same channel. And then I have another video about the Saint George as well on the same channel. Here it is about Saint George Guidestones here on the same channel. Here's the title. You must absolutely watch this if you understand what's going on in the Ukraine now, why Putin is showing it all the time when he has taken pictures of him in Moscow, together with the Georgia Guidestones project. So you go watch this film if you want to understand the whole shebang. Therefore, the ones in their shiny uniforms who beat up and terrorize the Russian people when they dare to criticize Tsar Vladdy or protest against the Ukraine war, have the Templar logo of their royal slayer saint by the name of Saint George on their Russian police cars, like a Templar knight on horseback, waving the standard of Saint George in a crusade against the Slavic peoples in order to annihilate the white race. From September 11, 2001 until around Friday the 13th, 2019, Pharaoh's prostitutes and Pharaoh's politricks only talked about the kebab wars and its terrorist attacks. Then, by a magic button, from one day to the other, there were no more terrorist attacks ever again. And they only talked about the Wu flu for the next 2 years, until February 24th, 2022, the day of the Russian invasion, with simultaneously the Wu flu stopping and all sanitary restrictions lifted from one day to the other. We passed from one agenda to the other through unexplainable abrupt endings and simultaneous abrupt beginnings, literally replacing one with the other at the exact same time. From the terrorist agenda to the Wu flu agenda to the Ukraine war agenda, like a play script by a Masonic playwright. Look, here it even says, committed to improving the state of the world. The state of the world state. And as these pharaohs are not really into improving the condition of the world, amongst themselves it definitely means committed to improving the world state. As their man Hitler said, one state, one people, one leader, a world state, a singular world state, one pharaonic empire, a world state, ein Reich, ein Volk, ein Führer. And it's a dark and evil agenda indeed, called the Ordo Abkau, Pharaoh's eternal war agenda, from kebab wars to bug war, and from bug war to the Slavic war made by our masters. Once weapons were manufactured to fight wars. Now wars are manufactured to sell weapons. My weapon of me, homie Hross, is the blast from the past. The blast from the past.